there's anything we hate more with a burning eternal passion, it's the rules. We love justice. I mean, we love it when we get to get the guy who hurt us. But when it comes to our own mistakes, we really hate getting backed into a corner. One of our favorite pastimes is cutting those marionette strings because our freedoms are worth more to us than gold. And I think that's great. I think that our ability to have freedom of expression in America and also our ability to influence our government have become incredibly underrated lately. The same rebellious mindset that happened in the Revolutionary War still runs through our veins today pretty strongly. Unfortunately, that doesn't transition very well when it comes to religion aspect. We still have that problem with authority today, and that leads to a few clashings when it comes, especially to the Catholic Church. We're so used to being in control that we're starting to expect to be in control. Mature people deserve to have that right to make those decisions. And you want to know a secret? God knew that too. And to help me with that today, we have my special guest, Andrew Lochner, and my dog who wanted to hog some camera time.
Hi. I don't know why she's licking my hand. That's
Because she can.
It's yeah. Okay, so in this backward society of human civilization we live in, freedom is the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. However, how can we be truly free if that is the definition? I mean, if I want to rise up in the air and just fly to Norway at 2 p.m. today, can I really do it? I mean, I guess if I got a plane ticket, but then that would be setting a limitation. I would have to buy the plane ticket. Though we all know, I mean, that can never happen. Just rising up and flying. So I must not be truly free, right? Well, if that's the case, then none of us are free. We don't have any freedoms whatsoever. But that's wrong on 2 accounts. Because we are truly free, but the definition of freedom in modern society is actually wrong. Freedom can be used in many different contexts. You can use it to describe liberation from physical captivity, or you can apply it to a more spiritual situation. But in all honesty, what is freedom? What is true freedom? I want to know what true freedom is in the most basic sense of the term. To deduce this, let's review some things. Firstly, how does the dictionary describe freedom? Well, taken from dictionary.com, freedom is the state of being free or at liberty rather than confinement or under physical restraint. He won his freedom after a retrial. So, that's the first term. The second term is exemption from external control, interference, or regulation. The third term is the power to determine action without restraint. So we now have 3 definitions of what freedom is, or of the word freedom, taken from dictionary.com. These freedoms, or terms as I will call, or these definitions, or terms as I will call them, represent the basic terms of what freedom is and what it is not. Physical, metaphysical, and power to determine. These 3 may work in conjunction to form different terms for freedom. I'll go through each term and define them further. First being physical freedom, to be liberated from physical restraint. This almost speaks for itself, but does it also include things such as disease or physical ailments? Take a broken leg, for example. You can't run with a broken leg depending on how severe the leg is broken. If the bone has completely severed from the knee joint, then physically you can't run. But this is already covered by our third term of freedom, and to a lesser extent our second. So the first term of freedom then must simply be freedom from physical confinement and control, not external control from any particular being or incident, as is defined by the second term, but basically concerning the actual physical situation as being bound. Okay, however, concerning external control, this is the second term of freedom as defined by dictionary.com. To be exempt from external control, interference, or regulation. This defines the laws of nature. So like gravity, temperature, humidity, any number of physics that we can encounter in our lives. The second term of freedom also includes other parties such as a governing body, someone or something that controls what you do, be it a king, parliament, a jury and judge. This also includes, but is not limited to, things like slavery, taxation, prohibition, such things that you have no control over, but things that you must obey, otherwise there are consequences. If you didn't have to obey those, then you would be free. It all comes down to laws with the second term of freedom. The laws of nature and the laws of man are what the second term of freedom dictate. But we're not going to mix it up with the third term of freedom, which is the power or ability to determine action without restraint. So in an ideal world, without laws of any sort, without, be it physics, metaphysical, just any sort of laws, this term would flourish. So it is very infrequent that this term is actually used. In fact, you can even call it situational. Let's say that I wanted to fly, like to Norway, without any external help or interference. I would then have the ability to determine action without restraint. Ergo, I could fly. This also can be applied to things every day. I want to grab a cup from the cupboard, so I do. I have the ability to determine action without restraint. I'm in complete power to take the cup from the shelf. However, if I were in bondage, I would not have the power to determine any action or series of events. So we must conclude that the third term of freedom means to be in power and to do whatever you want or may please, in light that there are no restrictions. So to conclude, what is it to be truly free? What is true freedom? We have defined 3 terms of freedom in depth, but that might not be enough. Is true freedom being free all the time? Is true freedom being essentially God? Yeah, it actually is. If we had no laws, whether they be physical, or if we could do whatever we want, if we had the power to just do anything, we would be God. If that's the case, I mean, none of us will ever be really truly free, because we're not God. But we're made in His image, and to be as close to true freedom as possible is to be as close as we can to God. Then, seeing as God is good and holiness incarnate, then we must be good and holy as much as we can to be truly free.
Right,
logic! Yes!
You've been Catholic.
You've been Catholic. And you've also been shot.
Alright, we're gonna see what she does in this video. Anyway, as most Christians are familiar with, or anyone who's really read the Bible is familiar with, is that, okay, we got Adam and Eve in the beginning. We got their mold, they're all fleshed out, we've got the physical being is there. And God's got a choice now. He can either make them so that they follow His every word unconditionally and make them like the little Adam and Eve slave
Shandi. No free will. No.
I don't know, she's pretty willful.
Yeah, she's a jerk.
But He actually went with the other option, which is that He gave us free will, which means we had the freedom to choose our own decisions. And for the most part, in the very beginning, we chose to do what God wanted us to do because God gave us a garden, He gave us life, we were pretty set. And then we decided we chose to turn away from perfection. And that's how original sin got into the world.
Terrible choice.
It
How
was.
dare they?
It was. That kind of sucks.
I blame my parents, honestly. I really do.
Stupid inheritance.
I know, right?
And so we still have that free will, and unfortunately, actually at times a lot easier to choose what is not quite good for us. And so, in regards to today's society, we tend to confuse that idea of freedom with the personal dignity that we have. We have these freedoms, we were given these freedoms because we each have this intrinsic value. We're all special, or in layman's terms, we're all kind of awesome in our own little way, and so we all have these freedoms. Unfortunately, we tend to confuse that personal dignity part with this is a free pass to do whatever we want to do. It's kind of like the little kid who says, I can go anywhere I want to, I can do whatever I want to because it is a free country. That's not the kind of freedom we're talking about, and that's not the kind of freedom that we pride ourselves on. But we tend to really kind of forget the importance of discipline. I mean, all good things in life have to come with that special price. We still have that free will today. It's just a matter of choosing the right things. And so that's what the church stance is on free will. They're not trying to impose on our will. They're not trying to, be the big bad guys. The Vatican is not our monarchy of the sort. It's just kind of giving guidance and trying to help us not choose the snake over God again.
Snakes are bad.
Sweet.
Snakes.